What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quarter, and yes, I admit there is a bit of tinfoil theory here, but it's an interesting conversation to have, a fun one to have, I think, and one that, well, is great for a Friday. Just some food for thought. I hope the comment section is very full of spirited debate, spirited discussions, and so on and so forth. So right now, as it sits, in fact, I just refreshed it, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker has a 57% Rotten Tomatoes critic score. I don't see a situation where it's going to extend past Rotten. Although it is, I still say it's a possibility, right? It only has to move forward 3%. However, 310 critic scores are already lodged. So just based on the pure number of them, if we look at the total people that reviewed Solo, a Star Wars story, had 461. So if the same number of people review this one, there's about 150 people less left to review it. Now, if all 150 people give it a positive score, yeah, you could see this movie end in the low 60s, which I still am shocked it isn't. I'm still surprised that this isn't lower. I mean, higher. It's interesting to me. But what's even more curious, what's even more shocking is the audience score. It's so crazy to me. We saw this with Captain Marvel and other movies where there's just a huge influx of positive reviews. Obviously, it was never anything that could be proven, but you always hear about review brigading in terms of only negative, right? Only negative people, all negative reviews can be discounted as trolls. All review brigaded positive reviews, that's just regular everyday fans. And to me, there's absolutely some shenanigans going on right now with Rotten Tomatoes and with Disney, okay? So the numbers as they stand: 310 critic reviews, 57% Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Audience score, shockingly, 86%. Last night, when I first saw the audience score rolling in, I think it was at 88%, with only a few hundred reviews counted. In fact, if I pull up my handy dandy Wayback Machine, last night, Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker, with 274 critic reviews, was still at a 57%, which stays where it is now. So it's not moving beyond the mean. With 342 personal reviews, verified audience, it was at 88%. With 10,000 reviews, it is at 86%. Now, there's a couple of things that have happened in the past with Rotten Tomatoes, okay? Rotten Tomatoes last year, because of Captain Marvel, integrated a new system where allegedly you had to they roll out a whole new review policy. According to The Atlantic, if we just go back, in a world of fan criticism, there's one unavoidable rule. You can't offer an opinion on a movie you haven't seen. But on Rotten Tomatoes review aggregating website that wields serious influence over many theatergoers, that rule was broken all the time. Until last week, any site user could leave a review for a film, a rating for a film, on its release date, something that would affect the movie's overall audience score, though not official critical score, which nobody gives a crap about. Then on February 25th, Rotten Tomatoes announced a new series of changes, the most significant of which is fans can only rate a movie once it's come out. So what would happen is you'd have an audience score on a movie days before it ever came out. So as funny as it was, I agree with that change. And at the time when Rotten Tomatoes rolled out this change, it was obviously to protect Captain Marvel. There was nobody denying it out there. But it was still, at the end of the day, a good move, I think. I mean, if you like Steam, like I do, one of my favorite things with Steam is that you can see not only how reviews from people who actually own the game, but you can look at people that actually have verified hours into the game. So you can really kind of or curate your own review experience. Now, why would people even need the opportunity to weigh in on something that hasn't been screened to anyone except critics? But this is the internet in 2019, where benign pop culture topic is a potential powder keg for online discourse. Rotten Tomatoes' decision proved to be just that. The announcement came less than 2 weeks before the highly anticipated March 8th release of Captain Marvel, the first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to center on a female superhero, in response to an angry segment of the superhero fandom that claimed the size changes amounted to censorship, but Rotten Tomatoes is just trying to stem the tide of organized campaigns against movies. See, here's the thing. Against movies. Make no mistake about it. There's absolutely positively positive fake reviews. Let me make a business case for you. A lot of people asked me this last night. A few people asked me. When I said, of course, the Rise of the Skywalker reviews, I think the highest you're going to see it is 88. The highest score you're going to see this movie at is going to be the score that it started with. Because if I'm Disney, I put it out there saying like, well, obviously Disney buys reviews. And somebody's like, really? What would be the business case for that? Easy. When you look at a film that has a $500 million budget, okay, let's just throw out some numbers, just, some raw numbers, right? It's often said that the marketing budget is equal to or close to the production budget of a film, okay? So if the film costs $500 million, that means they have $500 million to market it, which means it's got to make at least $1 billion to break, to get out of the red. Now, right now, Friday, when everybody's making their decisions to buy movie tickets, we know that Rotten Tomatoes is holding back reviews. You mean to tell me, you mean to sit there and tell me that only 10,000 people have reviewed this film? I don't believe you. Especially when we look at movies, the last movies in this franchise. The Force Awakens with 231,000 reviews, a movie that was never accused of any fan brigading. The Last Jedi with 214,000 reviews. And we have the final in the trilogy at just 10,000 reviews. Now, the film's wide releases today. So maybe tomorrow when I get up, I'll be doing a video that's like, whoa, epic drop. It went from 86 to 46 overnight. I don't anticipate that, but I do think this movie will probably finish in the 70s simply because of the people I've talked to. Hardcore Star Wars fans still say the movie is meh. And a meh movie is a 5 or a 6. Now, if you're a Star Wars mega fan, you might give it a 7. You're not giving it a 2 or a 3. The movie is not a 2 or a 3. That's not reasonable. The movie's also not a 9 or a 10. So you can just take it and say, well, the movie's not a 9 or a 10. It's definitely not a 1, 2, or a 3. So it's going to end up somewhere between 4 and 7. I think it ends in the 70s, mid-70s, but I've been wrong all the way here. Now, you say to me, Jeremy, why would Disney buy these seats? Well, you have a $500 million budget. We know that the only way you can get a review in to Fandango and to Rotten Tomatoes is by buying a ticket, right? So let's say I'm Disney. I'm their marketing CMO, right? And by the way, I do marketing for a living on a large scale for Fortune 500 companies. And now I have never suggested this to them, but if I worked for Disney, I probably would. It's just good marketing. If you buy up, let's say, you look at every theater, the majority of them for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all the good seats are gone, but there's always like 20 or 30 seats around the fringes. You buy those seats, you buy 10,000 seats at matinee prices. Okay, matinee prices is $6, let's say. For 60 grand, okay, for 60 grand, you can buy 10,000 10 out of 10 reviews on a site that has incredible power to sway people's decisions. Now, it's Friday at 1:35 p.m. when everybody's making their weekend plans. I log in to Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker and I see, yikes, The Rise of Skywalker. Yikes, 57% critics. Yeah, but fans like it. Fans liked it. Fans have an 86%. And by the way, that's on 10,000 reviews. So hypothetically, now I know this is just a theory. I'm not saying it's fact, but I'm saying if I were in charge of marketing, I could absolutely make a business case for this, because you will cement hundreds of thousands of people's minds. Well, let's just say orders of magnitude. You'd have a multiplier of maybe 10x on every review you buy. So if you went and bought 20,000 reviews at $6 each, you'd only pay $120,000 for 20,000 5-star reviews, enough to completely artificially promote this film. Right? Wouldn't that be good money spent? Everybody who comes to look at Rotten Tomatoes would say, oh, that's a really good score. Screw the critics. I'm going to go see it. And you'd make your money back. I also think that Rotten Tomatoes is absolutely slow rolling this review, because that's what I would do. If I'm Rotten Tomatoes and I sell my advertising based on impressions, every time somebody refreshes the page to see if that score has changed, that's an impression. So right now in the review battle era, you have the highest traffic on the site. And if you just flood out all the reviews, all right, people aren't going to be refreshing every 5 minutes to see if it changed. I mean, while I've been recording this, I've refreshed 5 times. Okay. And that's 5 more impressions that they get to sell to an advertiser, that they get to say, oh, if you buy an, hey, Disney, if you buy your, site-wide banner for Rise of the Skywalker, we get like 10 million impressions on, on a Friday or something like that. So it's just good marketing for Rotten Tomatoes to be slow rolling this. Also, who does Rotten Tomatoes work for? Hollywood. Who does number 2 work for? Hollywood. All right.
Who does number 2 work for?
Who buys ads on RottenTomatoes.com? Hollywood. Movies, right? So just like I was shocked that Twitter let J.J. Abrams' Party's Over trend, I would be shocked that Rotten Tomatoes wouldn't be trying to protect Disney here. If there was suddenly 50,000 negative reviews just waiting, right? Enough to massively affect the score one way or another, I believe that it would just be good business for Rotten Tomatoes to wait, let's say, for 1,000 good reviews to come in, and then they'll release 200 of the bad ones. That's why you see it go up chunk by chunk. You don't see it constantly going up by 10 reviews. You see it go up by 300 at a time or 1,000 at a time. There's no way that they shouldn't have like a real-time score. That's what I would do if I was running the website. I would have a real-time score, because it would gamify leaving the review. You might actually see a wave of reviews, make a change to the percentage. You'd incentivize more people to be on your site. If you're looking to hire a CMO, Rotten Tomatoes, holla at your boy. It's going to be expensive. But that said, 10,000 reviews at 1:30 on Friday is ridiculously low. Even a movie like Solo had 42,000. Now, we know they scrubbed them, of course. They always scrub. They used to scrub. Remember when they Z'd out all of the Captain Marvel reviews? That wasn't the first time they'd done that. And I don't support reviewing, leaving a negative review for a film you've never seen. It doesn't help anybody. It only lends more validity to those that would discount your opinions. But I'm just saying that I have seen an inordinate number of pictures of completely empty theaters once the film starts, right? I remember last year, Joey Salads posted a picture like this theater was sold out and there was like only 6 people in the theater. Well, isn't it possible that some marketing genius at the Mouse House bought all those tickets for the 3 p.m. in the afternoon showing on a Friday and just left 400 positive reviews? 400 positive reviews that have a huge power right now on Rotten Tomatoes with only 10,000 reviews in. I'm just saying, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Angry Joe uploaded his review and it was scathing.
You know what you did.
And when I look at the reaction to his video, right? It's got 300,000 views, 33,000 votes up, 2,000 votes down. And the entire 30 minutes is him dumping on the film. Where are all these people leaving reviews? Are they being held back by Rotten Tomatoes? Are they being deleted? I don't know, but something looks suspicious. It just doesn't match the entire narrative online. I talked to a friend of mine who's a super Star Wars fan last night, and he gave the movie a 6. He said, yeah, it was better than The Last Jedi. Well, I mean, that bar's so low you could trip over it. So I'm not sure, but something fishy is going on here. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.